Alright, in this problem, let's see. This is pretty similar to the last one we did. Evaluate the limit if 1 exists as x approaches infinity. I guess it seems to be pretty popular. X squared minus 6x plus 4, x cubed plus 9x squared plus 15 is equal 1, 4, 15, 0 does not exist. I can do this in my head, and soon you'll be able to too. Let's see. X. I just trying a different color because that's gets pretty old. The other ones. The other one I was using. 4 over x to the third plus 9x squared plus 15. The limit as x approaches infinity. And then after this, maybe, one time or another, I'll do a video on just on limits and what it means, and what calculus is for and what people are using it for and stuff like that. This one, a lot of these problems are taken out of computer engineering, so I know they lean toward it. You get stuff like radio waves, as opposed to like cones approaching a certain volume and so forth like that. I guess would have been good for like a bottling company and stuff like that. Alright, anyway, so this is the same thing. We usually pick our highest terms when we want to find out where they're going. In this case, we got a 3 in the denominator, we got a 2 in the numerator, and it's like, oh well, hey, there's a 2 over here too, right? Yeah, but this one supersedes this 2. This one's going, infinity times infinity times infinity. And we can plug in our calculator afterward, and we'll see it just ignores this one too. This one's going at, don't want to say a third, but it's going at, you could square root this number almost, and you'd get this number. You can tell it'd be a lot smaller, Okay, so, alright, so we take the highest terms, we just take these out, just take those out, and then you're like, oh, well, maybe it's 2/3, The other one was 11 over 1, last one we did. So we got x squared, and x to the third. And it's like, okay, well, remember what you're doing right here. This is kind of a hint. As this one approaches, really, really, really large, to the third power. And this one, if we're ignoring this one, even though it's really, 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 really large, squared, which is kind of like the last one we did, was squared over squared, we just ignore it. And this is pretty much what we do with this one too. I mean, as a matter of fact, we could just take these out. We could say, this is 0. Right, and this one is 1 after you minus them, because you can do that when you divide. And so we get x, anything to the 1 is just 1, and this is just x to the 1 is just x. And this is approaching infinity. So if this is approaching infinity, when your denominator gets really, 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 really big, so the number gets really, 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 really small, then you're approaching 0. Alright? That's not a u. 0. Put a little smiley face on it. He doesn't look too happy. Maybe he's doing calculus. Alright, anyway. So, that's it. It's 0. It approaches 0. And again, let's just do it just for fun. Let's do it to where it's negative infinity. See where it leads us. They don't really give you trick problems like that or anything, but it's not going to be hard to figure out. The last one wasn't. Infinity, the limit. I'm not really used to this pen tool too much. Third plus 9x squared plus 15. Alright. Alright, this approaches. We just ignore these. And you can pretty much, it still approaches 0, doesn't it? It just becomes a really, 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 really small negative number. And so we know we can cross out x to the third. This becomes 0 because you minus them, right? X to the 1, that's just 1 over x. Yeah, it just approaches really, 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 really. If you have if you were just talking and you say, alright, I have, 1 over x of something. If you had like 1/1000th of it, say like it was a molecule or whatever, it'd be like, wow, you pretty much had nothing. If you're a 1/1000th of an ounce of gold or something. And if it was, a negative, So you owed, let's just say like this, you owed pretty much a billionth of an ounce of gold. You'd be like, oh, you pretty much owe nothing. So it's still zero. It still approaches a really, 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 really large negative number. So it approaches zero, and this guy might be a little happier. He's like, oh, I understand. Alright, anyway. And so, yep, it approaches zero. Yeah, I'll just continue. I'll do more on the next one. See you in the next video.